Winter's story has inspired millions, but we measure it one person at a time. Watch the power of a connection.
I love Winter. She means a lot to me because she taught me to never give up and to be an inspiration to others. I really love Winter because she taught me that I can do anything.
Winter has taught me that it is okay to have flaws, and that being different is what makes us who we are.
Winter inspires me because she helps kids with disabilities, and that it's awesome to be different. I love Winter. She inspires me because she shows me that even if we do have a disability or a problem with our body, we can do what others can, no matter what. My name is Cindy. I'm 6 years old. I love Winter because she's beautiful even though she's different. Winter is my surgery buddy. My name is Rachel DeMarco and I've had 8 surgeries. I'm going on to my 9th. When I see how great Winter does with her prosthetic tail, it gives me hope that I will be able to walk all by myself.
Rufus! The night Winter arrived was pretty chaotic. Trying to get your head wrapped around the whole situation. And based on the condition of her body and what her tail flukes looked like when she arrived, we knew that, she was critical and she may not last the night.
Well, it was just after first light. I was heading out and the crab traps were out pretty thick. I happened to notice one that was not laid over in the wind like all the other ones, so I got off the throttle and motored over there, and Winter came up and kind of took a big gasp of a breath. There was probably maybe 10 coils of the rope right at the base of her tail. As soon as I cut the rope in the middle, she sprung open.
When I first saw her, she was sitting right next to Jim's boat and she wasn't moving. So I knew immediately that it was a serious situation, and I was sitting in the water holding her. So I just lifted my right hand up and I looked at her tail, and it looked horrific. And when we picked her up from the water, we could see that her tail was kind of fluttering. The entanglement injuries at the tail was just an entire area that was just kind of constricted and damaged. At that point, I realized she could die. So once the transport crew got there, they brought a stretcher that's specially designed for whales and dolphins. And they kind of came alongside me and dropped the stretcher under her, and then I kind of moved out of the way, and they lifted up the stretcher around her.
Presented by Visit St. Pete Clearwater, whose 35 miles of white sand beaches and world-class art scene landed it on the New York Times list of the world's top places to go. Plan your own adventure at liveamplified.com.
When you live amplified in St. Pete Clearwater, you dive deeper into every crazy, cool, connected moment. Come feel the pulse at liveamplified.com.
She was a young animal. We knew that she had been out in the water entangled long enough to have sustained significant injuries. So she probably hadn't been nursing for a while. Young animals stress out very easily with their mom. Well, due to Winter's condition and the fact that she was a young calf with a significant injury, we were advised to euthanize her. When I first saw Winter's tail flukes in the water, and in fact I picked them up and I held them in my hands, I wasn't sure what to think. I had never experienced an animal losing a significant part of the body like that and actually surviving. In fact, the fact that she was still alive and had tail flukes that were in these conditions was something that I had never experienced before. So when I held her tail flukes, I could tell they were flimsy. They were not firm the way that flukes should be. But we still hadn't comprehended the fact that she could even lose her tail flukes. We were actually trying to get a blood sample from her flukes, and clearly we weren't going to get it because the tissue had already become necrotic, but that hadn't processed in our minds yet because that was unheard of. Your mind just doesn't go there yet. It took that night and the following morning for everybody to really conclude that yes, this is going to happen and this tissue is going to shed from her body and she won't have tail flukes anymore. It was definitely difficult at times to keep it together. There's a lot of questioning about what exactly was happening with her, her tail flukes specifically, because we could see that she has tail flukes, but clearly the tissue looked as if it was necrotic. There's never a feeling of giving up, even in the hardest cases, and Winter certainly was a very difficult case from the get-go. It was difficult because, you know, she is a young animal that's in need and you want to hold her and make her feel secure. So you're going to make yourself vulnerable. You're going to get emotional about it. Honestly, the next morning when we had a conversation with our veterinarian and it was kind of laid out that this is her condition, this is what's going to happen, you start crying.
Stay tuned for part 2 of Winter's story, Winter Gets a Tail. Meet her real-life tail designers and watch as she learns to swim with her new prosthetic.
You want me to pull over there?
Right at the surface and just skimming.
She's exhausted. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Fighting infection, exhausted.
It's on both sides, pretty deep. The crab pot was still on her when she was attached to it.
You have your marks from the rope right here.
Yeah, that's what they were telling me.
Right here.
Has marks on her pecs, and also there's a little bit on her.
She was wrapped up good. Yeah, there's a tail bry if you want to get a shot of that. That's a good spot too. She's got a little bit of a. She's got a little bit of a crick going to the right there.
And the injuries that she has are due to a crab pot entanglement with a rope. So it basically was dragging through the corners of her mouth and also caused her some abrasions around her body from being wrapped up. She's been very tough all day. We've been doing this since about 10:30 or 11 this morning. Just holding her in the water and keeping her shaded and keeping her wet and cool.
Correct. You go to the guard gate there, and he will point you down. To, just pull that ambulance right up to that gate, and we can walk the animal out to the street. Lift her out now.